I just love 3-wick candles, but I just hate to throw out the glass they came in. So what do you do with them? This is Linda from Remade with Love, and I'll show you some quick and easy ways you can create new uses for old 3-wick candle glass. Number 1, gold leafing. I've collected lots of glass candle jars over the last few years, different colors and different sizes. After removing the stickers and the last bits of unburned candles, I like using the glass that has a rich, deep color and will have great contrast with gold leaf. You can see that my glass isn't perfect and has some scratches, but I can cover that up no problem. For today's project, you'll need gold sizing, a sort of glue for gold leaf, and several sheets of gold leaf. You'll also need some brushes and painter's tape, and check your glass for problems or scratches and tape off where you think you'd like your sizing and therefore your gold leaf to go. So sizing is like a glue for gold leaf, and you're going to paint it on using your artist brushes. And so I'm taping off a line so that I can create kind of gold leaf that goes from the middle of the glass over some of the areas that were scratched and around the bottom. Then I'm thinking I might do it up at the rim as well. Probably costs about $15 for both sizing and gold leaf, but if you think about how many times I've used both of these over the last 2 years, I've used it on furniture, on homemade cards, and on glassware, it's worth it. Goes a long way. So I'm getting out my gold leaf. It comes in really super thin sheets sandwiched between pieces of tissue paper. And once my hands get going with putting on the sizing, I might get some on me, and it may cause the gold leaf to stick or, just become a mess when I'm trying to take it out of the book. So here we go. I'm going to take it out and get it ready. Go ahead and get your sizing out. It's kind of like Mod Podge. It comes out white. You paint it on where you want it to go, and as it dries, it's going to dry clear. You want to keep it somewhat moist at this point because I've got a big area to paint, and I'm going to do the whole bottom half and then all over the bottom. And I'll do the bottom a little bit later just because I want to get this on quickly onto the sides, and then I can fold it in and it will stick. The problem with painting this on is sometimes it doesn't paint on evenly, even though you try and make it uniform in how you put it down. So as I was doing this project, I noticed that some areas were super wet and others are drying way too quickly. It needs to come to tack, which is, you can see I'm testing it with my finger. It's a way for you to touch the sizing, and if it pulls at the skin of your finger and is super sticky, then that's perfect. That's when you want to lay the gold leaf down. But some of this was already dry and some of this was too wet, so I'm trying to once again figure out a way to get this on evenly and smoothly. The good news is you can't really go wrong. It's very forgiving, and I can repaint as many times as I need without building up. It won't build up a huge layer and cause your gold leaf to have issues. So I'm going to try this, and as you get going, you'll see that I move it around with my finger as well. Yeah, it dried pretty unevenly again. But I move it around into the spots that don't have enough, and this helps the wet spots to dry and the dry spots to get damp. It all works out. When you're ready, you're going to gently pick up one sheet of gold leaf. Usually it's sandwiched between 2 sheets of tissue paper so it doesn't stick to your fingers, but this worked out pretty well today where I could pick up one and just kind of slap it against the side of the glass and burnish or rub the gold leaf with the tissue paper that held it. Try not to touch the gold leaf, and you'll see why in a while. As soon as we start burnishing and taking off the gold leaf, it will find its way into the air, onto your lap, into the jar, all over the floor. So we just try and keep it intact for as long as we can. If your coverage is spotty, don't worry about it. this can be part of your look. It doesn't have to look perfect and be perfectly burnished. In fact, I'm going to use this again as a candle holder, and so it might look kind of cool and have a stained glass effect where it's okay if some of the light comes directly through. I think it'll still look beautiful. If you find places that have too much of a spot or a hole, go ahead and, as long as there's sizing there, take some of that gold leaf that's excess, that's hanging off, and place it where you want to put it. It will stick down, and once you get it burnished, it's going to all look pretty uniform. Remove as much excess gold leaf and save it for other projects. Make sure it's completely dry before you go on to the next step, which will call for a chippy brush, and I used a stiff bristled chippy brush to kind of help burnish and remove at the same time. Gather everything up. It's kind of like after Christmas. If you've ever had a real Christmas tree, those pine needles that fall off, you end up seeing probably for the rest of the year, even though you've swept and vacuumed really well. Same thing with gold leaf. Try and gather it all up now. Keep it all in one place, or it's going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. You can see how the stiff chippy brush is really removing everything and making it all look pretty uniform. I love this look. So once you're done, go ahead and unpeel your tape. It's dried, so you're not going to remove any of the gold leaf that's already stuck down. And I used the painter's tape to kind of try and pick up those two tiny pieces that I won't be reusing. Burnish it some more, wipe some more. And then I decided I wanted to add some gold leaf to the rim. So I went ahead and grabbed my painter's brush and, whoop, well, maybe that could look good if it drips down. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the rim with a small brush, leaving the trickles as they went. I thought it would be a good look. Later I actually cleaned it up a bit because it didn't look or give the look that I was wanting, and because of that I ended up using my fingernail and just scratching that off before I sealed it. So this is a good time to use all those little extra pieces of gold leaf that came off of what you just did. Just dab it on with your fingers, press it in, burnish it as you go. Doesn't have to be perfect. It looks beautiful when you burnish it. And here's again is where I thought that drip might look good, and nah, it turned out being not at all what I was looking for, but it's okay. You can fix it. Okay. Decided I needed a lot more on the rim. I'd used all my pieces, so I just grabbed a new sheet. And once it's dry, use that brush to remove any excess leaf from your glass. Okay, so I'm done applying the gold leaf. Before I ended up sealing it with matte sealer, I ended up scratching off the gold leaf that was dripping down the side. I just didn't like that look at all. But here I am with my matte sealer. Give it a good shake to mix the contents. Pour a little onto a paper plate. It is kind of like Mod Podge again, and I mean, this actually acts like Mod Podge. Same consistency. I'm going to go ahead and use a paint roller brush. It's not a foam, it's that soft brush, and just roll it straight on. Every place that I put gold leaf, I want to go ahead and add matte sealer. It will dry clear. It will give a nice protection and a sheen. So it will end up looking like it does exactly as it did before I put the wet matte sealer on it. It'll just be protected. So I put a coat on all over. I put it on the rim and just inside the glass. And then after I was done, I turned it over and added a layer to the bottom. Let it dry, and we're all done. Don't you think it's beautiful? I do. Follow me on Facebook and YouTube. Remade with Love.